Welcome to Random and Memorable, a podcast from 1Password. I'm Matt Davey, 1Password's Chief Experience Officer.
I'm Sarah, one of the founders at 1Password.
I'm Rue, Head of Password Manager Development.
I'm Anna, the producer behind the show.
And we're the hosts behind Random and Memorable. Together, we offer up bi-weekly security advice, interview special guests from the cybersecurity community, and round up the latest security news in Watchtower Weekly. Plus, we may play a silly security game or two. So sit back and enjoy the show.
It's summertime. The days are filled with swimming and barbecue and long evenings out on the deck, just hanging out, reading nonfiction books and just chilling out. It's very nice.
Very nice.
I'm reading some murder mysteries at the moment, but on the barbecue front, I feel like that's where I can't match you.
Did I send you home with a bottle of sauce the last time you were here?
No.
Oh, I meant to.
Mostly because you can't, because I fly cabin luggage. So, I could get 100 mils of it, and then that would be it.
You just ration this tiny little...
I can't wait for them to ban that rule.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I don't want to check luggage. Oh, I lost my entire bag with all of my camera equipment. Why? Because I tried to import some ranch sauce.
That's not the vibe. We have a really robust blackberry crop that grows in our backyard, and so at this time of the year we are out picking berries in the evenings, and then we made some jam over the weekend. Delicious, fresh. Nothing makes you feel like you can survive on your own like making your own blackberry jam. I gotta tell you, just fresh berries in a pot. It's fantastic.
I bought an ice cream maker. It was Anna's fault. She mentioned it to me about a couple of months ago, and then it just sat in my brain. So you can freeze a block of anything and then make it into ice cream instead of having to churn it and that type of thing. I have made peanut butter. I've made burnt orange. I've made sour cherry. Oh. It's so good. Everything ice cream. That's what I'm trying. If it can be frozen, I make it into ice cream. I did an entire apple pie. That was pretty good.
Gosh, that's incredible. Incredible.
So it's very dangerous.
I love it.
We should probably get into our productivity special, because I haven't been very productive because all I've been doing is eating ice cream and then napping.
Yes, I think you're right. Listen, everyone, welcome to our productivity special. You asked, we listened. This episode is going to be jam-packed, speaking of jam-packed with 1Password tips that will save you time and boost your productivity, all while staying secure. 1Password's very own Allie Dusome will join us later to run down all the best 1Password keyboard shortcuts and under-the-radar features. That was such a fun conversation to have, because it was, in some ways, a trip down memory lane of just rehashing all the fun stuff that we've built over the years. It was great. Plus, she's gonna set a small challenge that you can do right now to boost your productivity, or as soon as you're done listening to today's episode. Before we get to all that, let's kick off the new season with some Watchtower Weekly. Matthew, over to you.
Have you got all the life hacks now? Is that the thing?
I have all the life hacks. Yes.
That's good. All right. I think we should jump into it, and it wouldn't be an episode of Random but Memorable without digging into some of the latest security stories. This season we're mixing things up a bit and using Watchtower Weekly to not only report on the news, but reflect on some broader trends shaping technology and cybersecurity. So let's jump into our story this week, which is: social engineering and third parties are powering modern breaches. There are multiple sources here, so all the links are in the show notes. So this is a trend that we've been seeing over the past few months over multiple industries, including the retail and airline sectors. Empty grocery store shelves and grounded planes tend to signal a crisis, whether it's an extreme weather event, public health crisis, or geopolitical emergency. But what we've seen in recent weeks across the UK, the US, and Canada, that these were caused instead by financially motivated cyber attacks. So who's behind it all? A hacker collective known as Scattered Spider. I think that gets a minus on the name, just because it's plural and then singular. I mean, I guess it could be scattered bits of spider, but that's even more gross. So low-scoring name, I think, there. But just in the last several weeks, 3 major airline carriers were hit by cyber attacks targeting customer data and back-end systems. One of those breaches exposed the data of up to 6 million customers. No passwords or financial details were taken, but names, emails, birthdays, and frequent flyer numbers were in the kind of data perfect for phishing and identity fraud. The criminals gained access through a third-party call center system using social engineering tactics to get inside.
Social engineering, for those that don't remember, is where you use knowledge of people or systems to try and gain access to those systems. A good example of a social engineering attack is when you show up to a business wearing a pizza delivery outfit, carrying a pizza, and you say, I'm here to deliver a pizza up to the 3rd floor. And they go, okay, great, come on in. That, you've just social engineered your way into a place that you're not supposed to.
Just before this very podcast, I had a call from the company that, or at least I thought it was from the company, that insures my camera. And they were like, to renew your insurance, you need to give us your credit card details over the phone. And I was like, I don't actually know whether they are the people that they say they are. And I have no idea when my camera insurance actually expires. So it could have been, from a data breach.
So did you give them your credit card? Are we expecting unexpected charges?
No.
Oh, okay, good. Good.
The story ends in me saying, I don't think that you should ring people up to tell them this. I think that you should be aware that people scam people like this. So, yeah, I used it as an educational thing.
Fantastic.
And then she was like, I will email you the bank transfer details. To which I said, here we go again. Please don't be surprised if I reply to that email asking you to reply to that email. Just to kind of get a bit more of a back and forth understanding. But anyway, right. Scattered Spider targeted a bunch of UK retailers and supermarkets recently. In those cases, party service providers were the weak link, leading to serious downtime, lost revenue, and chaos at checkouts. A lot of these recent events have shown the world, really, just how much these cyber attacks have real-world implications for all of us, ones that the average person is impacted by and no one can ignore. So, who are Scattered Spider? Well, they're relatively young, loosely affiliated group from Western threat actors known for high-impact social engineering campaigns. You might remember them from the MGM and Caesars Entertainment breaches in 2023, and according to the Mandiant CTO, the group's fluency is in the art of the impersonation, which is what makes them so effective. They said something they do probably better than any other group out there is social engineering, and a big part of that success is the Western accent. They pretend to be 24-year-old employees at a company in the United States or the United Kingdom. They sound credible because they're 24 years old and they are based in the United States or the United Kingdom. So the group is best known for using social engineering tactics like phishing, SIM swapping, and impersonation to bypass multi-factor authentication security processes. The chief analyst in Google's threat intelligence group said there are some uniquely skilled actors in Scattered Spider when it comes to social engineering, and they have identified a major gap in our security systems that they're out successfully taking advantage of. This group is carrying out serious attacks on our critical infrastructure, and I hope that we're not missing the opportunity to address the most imminent threat. So once inside, cybercriminals are often patient. Many look for days or weeks, gathering intel on cyber insurance, response plans, or financials before demanding a ransom. These attacks are strategic and designed for maximum payout and maximum disruption. The goal is to arrive at the highest number that the company would be willing to pay in return for the stolen information. And clearly, they don't just stop at one target. Scattered Spider tends to swoop in on an industry, hospitality, retail, or aviation, and hit multiple companies within a tight window before then disappearing again. It has since come to light, as of July 10th, that 4 people have been arrested in the UK as part of the National Crime Agency's investigation into cyberattacks, targeting the UK retail giants. So 2 males aged 19 and another aged 17 and a 20-year-old female were apprehended in the West Midlands and London on suspicion of Computer Misuse Act offences. It is not yet clear whether they're connected to the hacking group Scattered Spider.
I'm reflecting back on some of our conversations that we've had with our guests if they come in and we've talked about social engineering attacks and other things. And sure, there are definitely technical things that these companies can put in place to help reduce the ability for these types of attacks to happen. The other is training. People are always going to be one of the weakest links in the chain, and trying to train people up on what to look for, how to respond when certain requests come in, how to respond when certain things happen, I think is so critical in staving off so much of the damage that these types of attacks can do.
Like you said with the pizza guy example, like if somebody is just standing there saying, give me your door code, how do you know that's the person that's supposed to be there? And then making sure that the employees feel empowered to say no to folks like that. Like, someone's on the phone and they're getting really upset and why can't you give me this? And you should give me that and all this kind of stuff. And they say no. And then the customer's all upset. But like, this could have not been a real customer. This could have been somebody trying to gain access and then they make you feel bad. But like giving the employees the power to be like, I need to verify this before I can do anything. And like not making it like you made this customer mad and you don't have a job anymore. Like that, there's no incentive for the employees to do the safe thing. Like you need to give them the opportunity to be able to say no on these kind of social engineering type things. People are just so much, customer is always right. How can I make sure I get this through fast? And the incentive is to process people quickly and get things through. And then that's where you end up finding quick holes in your security net. And I think that's what these criminals are really good at, taking advantage of.
Agreed.
Okay, well, we have a new segment for this season that we're going to introduce, which is called Crash Course. This is going to be our no jargon zone where we are breaking down big cybersecurity terms and topics and trying to make it a little easier for those of us like myself to understand them. So whether you're a beginner on the internet or you're just looking for a refresher, this is a quick guide to understanding some of the stuff that makes people's eyes glaze over, like my own, or some of the stuff that we just assume we think we know and we understand how it works. So as this episode is our productivity special, today's crash course is on 1Password's Apple Watch app. So first of all, did you know that we have an Apple Watch app? It's convenient. It makes it a really easy way to look at information you've previously saved in 1Password, like credit card numbers, secure notes, garage door codes, all that good stuff. If you're not using the app already, it's super simple to set up and use. To add an item to your Apple Watch, just find the item on your iPhone or iPad and then select Apple Watch. Once you open 1Password on your Apple Watch, you can tap the item and view it. And that isn't all. Because we've got it on the watch, you can also do your one-time passwords on your watch, which helps make sure you've got all of your two-factor authentication super secure. When you open the watch, you scroll down and select Use as a complication. Once you've got the complication added, you can just make that your new watch face if that makes life easier. So if anything should be in Crash Course, it should be why is that round circly thing called a complication? Because it's a round spinny thing and not a complication. But that's not the point of today's topic. Right? Like what is complicated about a round spinny thing? But
it's legacy watch jargon is what it is, Sarah.
Is that what it is?
It is, yeah. It's like from like
as I was gonna say, it's like rolling down the window and no one understands, like no child today understands that you have to roll it because you have to manually crank it, right?
Correct. Yes.
It's one of those terms. Okay.
I mean,
so now I feel a little bit smarter.
It wasn't so long ago that I was in Anna's car and I had to literally roll down the window.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
I think Sarah's crash course has kicked us off nicely there to show how we can all be using the Apple Watch for a quick and easy productivity win. And I think that leads us perfectly into my chat with Allie for the main course of this productivity special. So get yourself comfy, maybe grab a notebook for this one, or re-listen to the parts of this episode if you need to, as there are a huge number of fantastic tips in here to help you get the most of using 1Password every day. Allie and I really went all over the place with 1Password on this one. Like we covered an incredibly large swath of tips and tricks and different things that I had forgotten about and that people are using. It was an excellent chat. So enjoy. Joining us today for our productivity special is Allie Dusome. Allie is product marketing manager here at 1Password and a true expert in all things features, time-saving tips, and making your digital life easier and more secure. Today, we're diving into the intersection of productivity and security and why you no longer have to choose between the two. So whether you're managing logins for a busy household as a family, juggling client accounts, or trying to stop copying 2FA codes, this chat is going to be packed with ways to help you save time and keep your data safe. Allie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So we're all very busy, and traditionally staying secure has meant powering through extra annoying little hurdles. what is your general approach in life? Like, how do you personally stay secure while making sure that your to-do list gets done each day?
I think I am the greatest use case of the person who's like, well, I'm definitely not going to use a security tool because I don't have time to learn and adopt another tool, another app. It was my husband that introduced me to 1Password in particular a couple of years ago. And I think starting to use that tool and helping to store obviously more than just passwords in it started to show to me that there is a way to enable productivity, even if it's a bit of front end setup. So things like not having to constantly reset my password. So not even realizing how much time that was costing me. But when I put everything in 1Password, I don't have to spend time resetting. Autofilling before 1Password, I was typing everything out individually on websites and forums. So I think little things like that. Also, even things when it comes to shared documents. So the amount of times that I would be calling my husband or he would be texting me for our benefits card, right? Like all these things take so much time. And I think starting to use the tool and realizing, oh my gosh, it's just so much quicker and just eliminates so much of the nonsense has helped me to just focus on what actually matters and give myself time back in the day.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of that resonates very much with me. Okay, let's move on to how 1Password users can maximize their productivity. So we can dive into some of the features that folks may or may not know about. I want to talk about keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts, typically a power user feature, and we've got some great keyboard shortcuts on desktop. Which ones do you end up using the most?
Command-Shift-X so that I can open 1Password anywhere at any time, no matter where I am in my workflow or my desktop. When I'm in 1Password, Command-Shift-Space, which will help me find whatever I need in 1Password. But I think what I want to call out here, which is really important, I was chatting to a developer, and Command-Shift-X is actually a hotkey or a shortcut that is used in coding sometimes. So for folks that maybe are less inclined to use 1Password shortcuts because it maybe is going to conflict with what they use on a regular basis, you can change your keyboard shortcuts. So to get quick access in 1Password, if you go into your general settings, you can change Command-Shift-X to something else that maybe is not going to interrupt your workday, which I think is really important to call out.
Yeah, I have mine set to Command-Shift-Space.
Yeah.
So, all right, you mentioned autofill at the beginning, and it's probably one of the things that people notice the most and notice first. Do you have any tips on how to get the most out of autofill?
Autofill is your best friend. That has been the biggest game changer. I think that's where a lot of the value comes from 1Password. I think the first tip is, of course, you can't use autofill unless you have the browser extension downloaded and installed. So that's number one. And then making sure that you have set your profile up properly. So when you go into 1Password, you're making sure that your name is how you want it to appear when you're filling out those forms online. Your address is accurate, your email is accurate, phone number. Less of a concern for Canadian friends, but certainly for those in America. I have heard that some folks don't put the state on the correct state line in the 1Password profile. So just, again, it's that taking a little bit of time up front to save you so much time down the road. But yeah, autofill is a game changer for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's getting better. Like we've been working on some really cool stuff that's gonna just like amplify how useful it is, which I think is going to be great when that stuff starts to roll out to general availability. All right, let's talk about sharing credentials, because that's something that I think that people do a lot in a very manual way that honestly 1Password solves for teams and for families. Can you talk through some of like the approaches with shared vaults and how they cut down on like password ping pong and messages and emails and Slack and stuff like that?
Yeah, for those that are thinking about how I would use a password manager in my personal life, this is a use case that I think drove my husband insane. The amount of times I would ask for the Wi-Fi password. So you can store something like that in your shared family vault. Your Netflix login, you can put those usernames and credentials that you want those to have access to. And if you need to update them, you update them once and it updates for everyone. I think in a workplace environment, this is a feature that we really start to see some of those aha moments, right? So organizations that right now I can think of, marketing teams in particular, are maybe storing their username and credentials for some of their social media logins or the tools they use in an Excel spreadsheet, and then they're just sending that spreadsheet over Slack or over email. So being able to create a marketing team shared vault where only the folks that you want to have access to those items can have access to it is obviously such a better security practice. Being able to share items from a vault with folks that don't have access to that vault. So an example of this might be in a personal situation, your babysitter or dog sitter is coming over and you need to give them the door code and you don't want to text that to them. So you can create a secure link. And even if they don't have 1Password and they're not a part of your vault, they'll be able to see it. And of course, this works in the business place as well. If you need to share something with a team member that maybe doesn't have access to the vault, or a contractor is a great example of this. So things like that, I think, are really important and healthy security practices to start adopting. And 1Password makes it so easy to do it.
Yeah. Our kids are getting older now, starting to get older, and we've had them on 1Password since they were very little. Like basically since they had their first iPad, like here, we'll put 1Password on it so that even if they're not using it at the beginning, like at least I have access to it there, but they have their own 1Password accounts and everything else. And we have a shared vault that's called Mom, Dad, and Kids. And certainly as like my daughter is getting older and saved up and bought her first TV for her room and stuff like that, and she's like, well, I need to log into everything. And I was like, cool, like I'll put the Netflix login in there, the Disney Plus, like I'll put your the media logins in there so you can get in. And she's just using it, like it's just there, and she knows that it's there. And the Wi-Fi one is great too, because we recently added Wi-Fi QR codes, so you can just be like, hey, just scan this. Like, and I can't tell you the number of friends that my daughter has had come over. She's like, Dad, can they get on the Wi-Fi? And I was like, yeah, just have them scan the thing. And she's like, oh, right. And it's just there.
That's a huge one, right? When you're creating the new item and you can choose your wireless router, you fill it in, you put the information in, and a QR code immediately is displayed. That is something that we've used constantly for that use case for sure when people come over.
Yeah.
I think it's something that a lot of folks don't know, but it's, so important.
Yep. We've gone out of town and we've asked our neighbors to come and like let the dogs out a couple times. Yes, I will send them a secure link, just like, here's our garage door code. Like, you go ahead, and they have it, and they don't have to be texting them to them. And
which is peace of mind. I mean, I think that's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of scary stories, and not to get fear mongering here, but there is a lot of stuff that you hear happening, and I think you think you're being secure and you think you're sharing it with someone that's trusted, or what's the worst that could happen? But I just think when we have tools that are available that are easy to use, the peace of mind that you can get is just so worth any learning curve or setup versus, being a little bit risky in today's day and age.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. You mentioned quick access earlier, which is a feature of our desktop app. Can you talk a little bit more about what you can do with it, how it works, like how you use it?
Yeah, so this is like your command bar, I guess, to help you launch things from anywhere. So you can sign into your apps that you have on your computer when you can't use autofill in the browser. You can grab, I believe, 2FA codes, and of course, searching for login information without needing to open the full app.
Yeah, the universal nature of it is just, you can always just sort of like click on it in the menu bar if you want and bring it up and just be like, okay, what's this thing? It's also the pathway to filling credentials not through a browser. So if you have a native app installed or something else, you can fill credentials right from it. And 1Password integrates with the system to be able to fill your stuff anywhere. So you can just like put your username and password into any app, whether it's in a browser or not. It's a really intelligent feature that we built that I love. Okay, so we've talked about logins, we've talked about credit cards, we've talked about a few other things. What else do you have stored in your 1Password vault that you think that people might not immediately think of?
We chatted a bit about families and children. So yeah, certainly any type of Disney Plus, Netflix login. But we have our kids' Google Classroom logins, their logins like for specific apps that they use at school, like the apps for reading. Insurance is a big one. So if you have your benefits card or your insurance card, making sure that that's in there for access if you have a partner or dependent that needs that. We have stored locker combinations or bike lock combinations in 1Password. Some of our medical records are in there. This is something I'd like to explore a little bit more, especially as things start to become a little bit more digitized. But things like lab work and blood work. And again, this is helpful to have these things in 1Password because it is so easy to search for them that if you are at an appointment and you need to find it quickly, you're not spending 10 minutes looking through email or texting your, people that might have it. I think for the business side, things like SSH keys, this is where 1Password, I think, becomes kind of a full tool for all teams, right? So when we think of 1Password, a lot of folks think great for the IT team. But as I mentioned, marketing, phenomenal for your apps like Instagram. You can't put that behind SSO, right? So you are going to have those credentials that probably many folks on your team are using. Yeah, SSH keys, as I mentioned, API keys. There's a lot of use cases for teams outside of IT. HR, I think any type of secure document, legal document, those all can be stored in 1Password, and you can really decide who has access to what. So again, I think it just goes beyond those security and IT teams.
Yeah, for sure. As we were talking about the family use cases, one of the ones that I remember that I have is we have just like various padlocks that we've acquired over the years. I use one if I go to the gym, or another one is like a typical bike lock. And I will pull these things out of a drawer and be like, oh no, I don't know how to unlock this. And I have those all stored in 1Password. So I can just be like, oh, right, okay, I can look it up. And it's one of a handful of combinations. And yeah, on the like SSH key side, we also have, as a developer feature, you can sign your code commits with 1Password. And it is so easy. It is such a huge quality of life improvement for developers because it is secure. It's integrated very tightly in the system. You make code commits, you sign them with your finger because you'll get a Touch ID prompt or a biometry prompt on your computer, and like it's just part of your workflow. It is so seamless and it is so good. It's one of those features that we hear about all the time as people are just like, oh my God, like this just works. Like it's great. It's incredible. So, and
it's included. I mean, I think that's the other thing. You know what I mean? I think that is one of the beautiful things about 1Password, and people talk about how wonderful it is and it's easy to use, and it is, but it's things like this that I think really are the proof points to those testimonials, right? Like this is not an added feature you need to, if you're an organization, this is not something you need to add extra. This is something that you can procure and your entire organization can use it. You don't need to procure different tools or add a secrets management piece for, your DevOps team. Like this is a tool that exactly what you just said is going to work in your workflow, regardless of what department that you're reporting into.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's keep going with some of the family use cases. We're going to get more into like teams and employees and stuff like that in a bit. What about shopping online? Like what are the things that you find as good wins for 1Password when you're checking out from various places and stuff like that?
This is where autofill and having that credit card information is great, but dangerous because it makes online shopping too easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly putting your credit card information in there is great. I just recently became a frequent flyer member with an airline that we've been using for the last couple of years. And I didn't realize that you can save things like your frequent flyer number right in 1Password so that when you're checking out, you can have that as part of the autofill. So you're not, again, going back to your email. What was my loyalty number? Having to grab your wallet. Oh, especially when they're checkout these days, like sometimes it's timed, right? Sometimes it's like you have 5 minutes to check out. And so it makes that process easy. You're checking out in seconds and things are accurate, which is great. Huge for flight deals, right? Those are the ones that are usually time boxed that you don't have time to be digging around and looking for your loyalty card or, of course, your credit card or passport information, right? Like all of that is right there in autofill, which is great.
Yeah. The other one that I have is TSA PreCheck / known traveler number. That is stored in its own item in 1Password. And I have the expiration date on it, set on it too. So like 1Password warns me when that expiration is coming up so that I can be like, oh, right, I actually have to renew this. I can't let this lapse.
Yeah.
And that's one that like I have to fill in anytime I'm booking a flight, and it's just there. And I never have to wonder where it is. I think that like if people take nothing else away from our chat today, the peace of mind of just putting everything in 1Password is is so huge. Like, you almost forget how much of a benefit you're getting from it to not have to scramble and like try and find things.
Honestly, like that's what it is. And as somebody that wasn't using 1Password and then started using it, you really see, or when you haven't put something in 1Password because you haven't, and you're like, oh, whoa, this is a nightmare. Like, of course it's going to go immediately in. So yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, I've had those moments where I'm like, uh-oh, I didn't put this in here and I don't know where it is. It's really bad. It's really bad. All right, let's go back to the browser extension for a minute. How do people make the most of the browser extension? Like, how does it help them stay in the flow?
I think you want to make sure that the browser extension is pinned in your browser's toolbar. So this makes sure that it's always showing. This helps to make autofill easier when it's pinned in your browser. So I think that would be my biggest tip for the browser extension.
Yeah. Yep. Agree. Because it's not there by default.
Correct.
And if you don't turn it on, you're like, oh.
And it's easy to turn. I mean, it is also easy to turn on. Like, as somebody that is not a tech savvy person, if I can figure this out, like right click pin, it's, it's easy peasy. Yeah.
We also, I'm 99% sure that it's part of our onboarding steps for when you first install the browser extension. It's like, hey, you should pin this, and it like tells you how. So we walk you through it too. Okay, Allie, there are two types of 1Password users. There are those people who use tags, and there are those people who do not use tags. Are you a tag user?
I am, but my husband is not. So my husband is like, it's like a little wild, wild west in there. But I think he has come to appreciate them because, as I mentioned, like we do have a lot of our kid-related items. So tagging things like kids and having their school logins or their apps or things has helped a lot. Tagging things like benefits or insurance, taxes, you're spot on. There are two people. And if you don't use tags, it doesn't mean that you won't get the value out of 1Password. But as somebody that likes things organized, it's certainly a wonderful way to find things much more quickly than just a giant pool of items sitting in there.
Yeah.
Were you a tag user?
I'm not a tags person. No, I just search. I just use search. And I realize that tags help with search, but I do not invest in adding tags.
Well, and the search function is like, the reality is the search function is great. So I can understand why you wouldn't feel like you needed to.
Yeah.
But it does keep things nice and clean for those that are a bit type A. So
this is like, there's two types of airport people: the people who are ready to go 4 hours before, and the people who are buying luggage at the airport to be like, oh, I should put this in a bag. I'm the 4 hour early person, by the way. Like, I don't like to be, I want to be there.
I can't think of anything more stressful than showing up late to a flight.
Showing up close to your flight time? No, thanks. No, don't do that to me. Okay. We've touched on so many tips and tricks. Is there like a favorite feature or trick that you use all the time that we haven't actually touched on yet?
We've touched on it, but I do want to just reiterate it because I feel it's key, is sharing items with that secure link. So when I initially got 1Password, I thought that you could only do it with other people that had 1Password, but that is not the case. You can create a secure link for any item in your vault and share it with somebody. This came up recently when I needed to give my credit card number out and I couldn't do it over the phone. In what world do you want to be just sharing your credit card number wildly, over text? So yeah, I think the sharing, and like, again, we chatted about it, pet sitters, babysitters, as people kind of come and go, just peace of mind that, especially with folks like a pet sitter or a babysitter, I don't know how long they're going to be in our life for. Do I really want them having my garage code forever? No, I can give them a secure link and I can decide when that secure link will no longer show the code for them, right? So things like that are definitely good. What about you?
So mine is an interesting one because as the years have gone on, platform vendors and browser vendors have added their own password managers into their products, which is great. Like, just the increase in security for the population at large is wonderful. Like, I want people using a password manager first and then 1Password second. Well, okay, technically I want them always using 1Password, but like, ideally, please use a password manager, right? But the tip here is that as these things are getting added to these products, they're on by default a lot of times. And you can run into situations where you find that the system integration or the browser integration can actually collide with 1Password in a way that sort of can fragment your setup. And you end up with information stored in iCloud Keychain or Apple Passwords or Google's Password Manager. And so my tip is actually go and turn those things off once you've got 1Password set up, because we actually handle all of that for you. And we integrate everywhere that the systems integrate. So making sure that you go and you actually turn those things off will give you a better user experience overall. and set yourself up for a lot of success going forward.
That's such a good one, because you're right. If it's not off, then when it goes to save, where do you want to pull this from? There's multiple options that show up, and you're right, it can get confusing. So yeah, that's a really, really good thing.
And I've had it happen where I'm like, wait, where is this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, somehow this got saved. Or like I'll find it like on my wife's computer, right? Where it's like, wait, why is the Apple Password Manager turned on here? Like that's not what we want. Like this shouldn't be going there. Like this has got to go in 1Password so that I have it and you have it. And like
that piece, right? Because folks can't access, if it's in your Apple keychain or your iCloud keychain, pardon me, your family can't access that, right? So yeah, that's key. Yeah.
That actually leads me to my second favorite tip is in our family account, very, very rarely will use my personal vault. I have a Carrie and Michael vault set up, and that is my default vault for saving like all of my new items and everything. And I have it. Carrie has it set on all of her setups as well, because we have very few things that we want to keep separate. Certainly in the event of something going wrong, like being able to have access to all of this stuff is pretty critical. I think that the only time that I don't save stuff to that vault is when I am buying Carrie something on a website that I haven't created a login for before, and I don't want her to see that I might have made something over there. That's the only time that I will do that.
You know, that's a good tip. That reminds me of what we've done for my parents who are a little bit older, and I'm sure you can relate to this too, is, you know, for anybody that might be setting up 1Password for family, and family includes maybe their elderly family or folks that are a little bit older that they want to have shared access to. We've done that with my parents, right? So their default vault that they're going to be saving things to is one that we have access to.
Yeah.
In the event, should we ever need to support them or help them, or should something happen, it's all right there, and you're not digging through emails or hard copy paper in a basement. So I think it's a wonderful feature, and I think it's a great use case for family to have that shared vault as the default one for sure.
Yeah. Yep. We've touched on so much of 1Password, and it's actually, this has been like a great trip down memory lane for me, as I've been like, oh, I remember building that. Like that's been really fun. So are there any like under the radar features that we haven't talked about yet? What's like a sleeper hit that we have that you think that we haven't touched on yet?
I think the nearby items feature is very cool, and I think a lot of people have probably not tried it out yet because it is a newer feature that we've released in the last few months. So this is the feature that will let you link specific locations to items in your vault, and then those items will appear automatically when you are near that location in 1Password in the nearbys section. So I'm thinking mobile, obviously you'd be walking around on the mobile home screen. So this is great for things like Wi-Fi passwords being shown to you when you're walking up to the gym or the library and it being attached to those locations. Really great for anybody that works at a brick and mortar office that has a door code that would maybe only show up when you're near the office. So this is one I think under the radar only because it's a little bit newer, but I think there's some really cool use cases that we're going to see more of as people start to adopt this and use it.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Those door codes, especially like businesses that rotate the door codes, is great because the business will make sure that that item is always up to date, and all you have to do is pull it up and it will be right there when you walk up to the door. I actually have this set up for what I think is a probably pretty niche use case, but nonetheless, like people can extrapolate and figure out how they would apply this to their own setup. Carrie's aunt lives in an apartment that has a street side door code and then like a door code up the stairs, like to get into her actual apartment. And I have that street side door code saved in 1Password and tagged with the address of the apartment building so that when we walk up to it, I don't have to remember what the code is. It's just, I can just pull it up and be like, okay, it's this. And you can just punch it in and you can go and, knock on the main apartment door. It's such a great application of this feature that I love. The other one is like my library card. I have that tagged to the library location, which is great because I think my physical library card is like in a drawer somewhere around here. I don't know. I haven't used it in years and years because I just always use the number. But there's all these little ways that you can just tag items. And I think if you go through your items and be like, where is this? And you start adding location to it, you start to find more and more use cases.
That's what I was going to, exactly. The more that you get familiar with it, I think you're spot on. I think even like garage door codes, right? Like, I mean, not that you're doing that necessarily at your house, but at friend, like I could see things like that starting to pop up more, which is cool. So
Yep. Yeah. All right, let's wrap up with, I think one thing that we also haven't talked about is biometric unlocking with your face, unlocking with your fingerprint. I'm assuming you have that set up for all of your devices.
Yeah. And of course, this is like one of the friction pieces, right? That just gets removed when you can do that, especially with your mobile. And I think folks are so used to that now in 2025. It's nice that we have that as part of 1Password as well, right? Because you're probably already using that in some capacity, especially if you have an iPhone. And of course, just an extra layer of security, which we love. So
yeah. We actually have this really awesome improvement that we're going to be rolling out very soon called security profiles in our apps. And it lets you pick your preferred way to unlock 1Password. And we've got 3 different profiles that you can pick from by default. And then you can tailor them, if you need to, past that. So there's convenient, which is what I'm using based on my current threat model. On my desktop, 1Password actually unlocks when my computer unlocks. I don't have to have a separate unlock event for 1Password. My computer is already locked down. When I unlock my computer, 1Password is unlocked. And that's really great. We have balanced, which you unlock 1Password once a day, and then it will lock when your device locks. So at least once a day, you're having to unlock 1Password again. And then there's strict, where it locks when 1Password's not in use, and you have to unlock it pretty much every time you want to use it. These are so great because you get to pick, based on your own threat profile and your own threat modeling for yourself, what you want to do. And because I work from home and my devices are typically with me, I tend to go with the convenient one. I want to have 1Password unlock with me. But when I go out into the world, then I can actually really easily change those security profiles and lock it down as my threat profile changes, as I sort of like move through the world. I'm so excited for people to use it because I think as I've been using it, it has meaningfully changed how I use 1Password.
I'm glad you gave those 2 examples because I think that would have been my follow-up question is how should folks know what threat model to align with? But I think that use case you just gave of working from home versus working outside of the house where obviously there's more access to your devices, I think is a perfect kind of baseline for folks to start with thinking what might work best for them.
Yeah. And so much of that threat model is based on not just my location, but also the security settings I have on my computer. My computer locks itself, obviously, like when it goes to sleep and is inactive and stuff like that. So like I'm relying on the security of the device to, in this case, to help inform the security of 1Password. And it's really, really good. Gosh, there's a million things that we've built into this app. I feel like there's something that we haven't touched on, but let's move on to teams and employees and touch on some of that stuff. Let's get into admins. What are some good time hacks for new 1Password admins?
Yeah, I think if you're really looking at time hacks, set up groups and shared vaults by either role or department as part of the onboarding process. So this is where I think you save a lot of time later by having things organized to help folks get up and running quickly. So if you have a new employee that's coming on, making sure that they're added to the right vault where all of the credential information is going to be stored, or even documents. Like there is a world where you could put a lot in 1Password, and as soon as that new employee has access to that shared vault and they're part of the marketing team group, they're in right away, right? And they're not waiting around, hey, I'm trying to get access to Figma, can I get the password for that? It's all at their fingertips. And that's when we start to see people moving a little bit quicker. I also would encourage admins to lean on our new feature coming out, custom onboarding emails. So this is going to help you roll out 1Password in a way that's going to feel familiar to your team, trustworthy. You're going to be able to add your logo. You're going to be able to customize the text. So this is a way to roll out the tool in a way that hopefully won't cause people to delete it thinking it's spam. And then, of course, now you're having to re-onboard them. This is a way to, again, just kind of make that onboarding and reducing the friction and getting folks set up and ready to go in 1Password.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. What about the dashboard? Like we have this really great admin dashboard. What parts of the dashboard should admins be focused on to streamline their day?
Yeah, the admins that I've talked to, I think the 2 where they spend the majority of their time is invitations, because that's going to be the page where you're going to see who has accepted the invite and who hasn't, and insights. So insights is where we have our reports, and that's going to surface things like any data breaches that might be affecting your team members and helping them to update those passwords. Password health, so tracking compromised or weak reused passwords, items that might not have 2FA enabled, being able to understand how your teams are using 1Password and helping to notify them of opportunities to maybe improve their security practices. So this is like a daily to-do list for better security. And I think what's really nice about 1Password is you don't have to run these reports. This is something that you can do in the morning that shows up right on your insights page. So you're going to be able to see those insights and you're going to be able to act on them immediately.
Yeah. One of the other things that we added recently, and we put this actually right on the main dashboard, was the adoption report. So you can see how many people have actually installed the browser extension, how many people are using like this critical piece of the 1Password tool set, and you get a full adoption report out of it. It's just great to be able to be like, oh, the rollout is not what I thought it would be, or like, oh, I see that I've got some work to do to like help inform people. It's a really nice quality of life improvement that I think we've put in here.
It's a great call out.
Are there any power user tips for how to access what you need work-wise from personal devices in a BYOD world? There's a lot, sort of like a lot of crossing of devices. Do you have any power tips for that?
Separate your vaults between personal and work. Do not store personal items in your work vault. Is very, very simple. I mean, I think you said you have a Michael Carey vault. Mine is Dusome Family Vault. And then I have 1Password Employee Vault. The names are totally different. You're in control of how you want to name your vault. So just make sure that those are separate and that you're using those. And again, when that browser extension is installed and you go to save credentials in something, you can choose very, very easily and quickly where to store them. And just making sure that you're really keeping those separate, I think, is going to be key. And then, turn on the biometric unlock. I think that was a really good call out, Rue. And then when we release these upcoming features, I think that's something worth exploring, is understanding what would make the most sense for you in your threat detection or where your comfort level is, because I think those things will really help kind of speed up and not impede on your workday.
Yeah. Yep. Because 1Password as a product, you can add as many accounts to it as you want. You can add your business account. You can add your family account. They can all live within the same app. You're right. Being aware of what goes where is really important. We did, in the last year, we added a notification banner that will show up on an item if we think that it's in the wrong vault, where it'll say literally like, hey, this item might belong in another vault. If this item is for a business need, you should actually save it to your business account. And we give you like a one-click button to just move it to the right spot. And it helps catch those moments of you maybe had something, or it helps clean up past moments of like you just had some pollution that you didn't know about, some cross-pollination you didn't know about.
Yep.
Are there any favorite aha moments from customers or teams that you've experienced, that you've heard about, where someone just realized like how much time 1Password could save them, or the things that it could do for them that they didn't realize? Yeah,
the one use case that sticks out to me the most is a B2B customer that was using a different password manager, and they decided to try 1Password because over time usage had dropped off with their legacy tool. People found it clunky, it was hard to integrate into their workflow, and they just didn't use it. And so they switched over to 1Password and they tripled their security enforcement. They tripled the amount of people using it. And I think this is just such a testament to the reality of being in 2025. People are not going to tolerate, even in a B2C situation, people are just not going to use a tool that slows them down. People are not going to use a tool that sucks, quite frankly, And I think this was such a testament that you had an entire organization that adopted this tool and used it because it made their life better, easier. And it's a testament to the fact that, you are only secure as the tools that your employees are using, and you're only secure as the tools that your family is using. And if your 75-year-old dad can't figure out how to use 1Password, then he isn't going to be secure. And I think if you have HR department that can't figure out how to use 1Password, they're not going to use it, right? So to me, it was really seeing that in real time and like chatting to this customer and understanding that is the magic, I think, of 1Password, is like we're building something that people actually want to use. And I think that's kind of bottom line when it comes to being secure, is if you're not going to use the tool, you won't be secure.
Yep. Completely agree. Okay. I want to take us into a mini challenge. This is something we're trying that's a little bit new. Before we wrap up this productivity special, we wanted to set our listeners a simple challenge they can try immediately during or after listening to this episode. And doing just one of these things can make your day-to-day digital life a little bit easier. So what kinds of things can folks do right now to boost their productivity?
I have a list.
Okay.
Make sure that your 1Password browser extension is installed and pinned in your browser. Make sure that your profile is set up in the app, so you have your name, your address, your phone number, your email, so that when you want to autofill a form, it's very easy. try setting up a vault for a specific purpose. So try setting up a home admin or your name and your partner's name or a kid's login vault and start to grant folks access to that and put items in it. And then something we didn't touch on, but I think is so important, take a look at your Watchtower report. Every user of 1Password gets to see their Watchtower report. You can see if you have any weak or reused passwords. You can see if there's any logins that you have where you could upgrade to a passkey to go totally passwordless. So there's a lot of really great insights there that, again, are surfaced automatically. There's no report you have to run. You just take a look, and it's very easy to follow to understand what actions need to be taken to increase your security.
Yeah. Yep. Good tips. Good starter productivity boosters. I like that. What would you say to someone who thinks that using a password manager sounds like just one more step instead of one less thing to worry about?
That was me. I understand. I felt the same way. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The reality is it is a bit of work on the front end to download it, set it up, populate it, add items into it. But as you and I have just talked about for an hour, it's going to save you leaps and bounds in your day-to-day life after it's set up. So the, 20 minutes of going through and downloading and putting it on all your devices and starting to populate it with things, it's just going to make your life so much easier after, and it will be so well worth the small effort to get it set up.
Nice. Okay, finally, where can folks go to learn about how to get the most out of 1Password features, like any of those things that we chatted about today?
1Password.com. Check out our blog. Support page is great. And we also have our 1Password community, which is newly been kind of rejigged a little bit. So we have one for our B2C folks and then one for our B2B folks as well.
Yeah, we've added a whole podcast community section there for the show. So anyone listening, we totally go there, share your own tips in the community forums. We're going to link to an episode thread in the show notes so that if you want to just head over there and share your own tips and tricks, you never know what you might find over there. Allie, this was great. Thank you so much for taking the time today. This was a lot of fun.
This was great. Thanks, Rue. I really enjoyed myself. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Allie, for joining Rue. I hope everybody out there appreciated some of the different tips and tricks, and everybody was able to discover something a little bit new in 1Password that they hadn't thought about using it that way before. With that, we're going to move into our latest security game, but I just wanted to put a call out to your questions as well. Agony Aunt Rue has been working the night shift, so there wasn't any mail that we were going through for today's episode, with it being our productivity special, but if you do have any questions you would like us to answer on the show, you can send them to podcast@1password.com or leave a comment in the 1Password community forum for whatever is the easiest for you to send them in. Please send in your questions, show-related, note-related, ice cream maker-related, and we will do our best to get back to you and share your information.
I thought we'd use that segment just to pick out things from the listener survey, maybe compliments, and read them out. I think that would be very nice for our own egos.
I agree.
Okay,
yeah.
So we've reached the final part of our show, which is the bit I've been most excited for, our new security game. Over the years, especially after hearing from you recently with our listener survey, we've discovered that this is a polarizing part of the show. You either love it or you hate it. I think that's fine. It's at the end. We warn you. Just, come back next episode, cut it at the same point. All good. We've decided to continue it regardless, because I think we find it fun. Because if you love our silly security games, then you will continue to enjoy them. And if you hate them, again, just skip to the end of the episode. So it's time to unveil our newest game, which is called Hack or Hoax. Oh, I like it very much.
Wow, no lyrics. Interesting.
Would you like to add some?
It's good.
Let's play that again,
Sing
and
along.
Rue's going to add some lyrics. No?
Nope.
Oh.
Is it real? Is it fake? We don't know. It's gonna be a game.
It's Hack or Hoax, everybody.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Okay,
Love it.
I really hope Anna separates all that audio and plays a new version next time with both of you talking over it.
I was busy trying to listen to the rhythm
right.
to find some lyrics.
So great.
Get ready Dim the lights, quiet your mind, and listen closely. You're about to hear a story, a curious tale from the weird and wild world of cybersecurity. Each episode, we will read a short tale of a hack. Some of these stories are shockingly true, others are made up. Your job, along with ours, is to figure out which is which. The rules are simple. Is it real, or is it a hoax? After the story, we'll cast our guesses and explain our reasoning. So, here we go.
Matt, you've got to do the voice. Now, get ready to dim the lights.
Okay. In 2022, a woman living in San Francisco made a startling discovery. While scrolling online, she came across a deeply unsettling image of herself in her own bathroom. The photo, clearly private, had been captured not by a hacker, but by her robot vacuum cleaner. She had unknowingly become part of a beta testing program for her Roomba, a device designed to clean but quietly collecting data to train artificial intelligence. What she and many others didn't know was that these test units were taking photos inside homes. Not for nefarious reasons, but for AI training, teaching the robots to recognize common household obstacles and environments. The real breach came not from cybercriminals, but people. The photos had been shared internally, and one contractor working with a third-party data annotation firm casually posted them in a Facebook group for training discussions. The company insisted that the devices were clearly labelled as test units, but for those living with them, that message never came through. But the incident raised difficult questions about informed consent, surveillance in the name of convenience, and the hidden cost of training AI. Now, what do we think? Is that a hack, or is it a hoax?
Dearest gentle readers, the music does not lend itself to listening skills.
Did it go a bit Bridgerton? Or is that just the fact that I have a British accent?
Here's the thing.
No, it was we just finished watching the season way slower than the rest of the world, I know, but definitely Bridgerton with a slight, 1930s jazz vibe getting in there.
That's exactly what I was aiming for. I don't feel like I sound like Julie Andrews, but I hope I now do. Okay, let's get back to it. Is this a hack, or is it a hoax?
Okay, here's the thing. I think that this is a hack, but I'm hung up on a detail, which is she saw a picture of herself online. Where was she scrolling or otherwise hanging out? What kind of seedy underbelly of the internet was she on that she all of a sudden came across a picture of herself? That's really weird, and it's throwing me off. So I think that this happened to some people, but I also think that this is a hoax.
Sorry, you gave both answers there.
I did, sorry. I think that there have been issues with Roombas in the past.
Right.
And I think that this one is a hoax.
Okay, so you're going hoax. Sarah, how about yourself?
I have to go hoax because she'd have to be laying on the bathroom floor. You know what I mean? Like, the Roomba's camera isn't a 360, right? Like, it would have to be...
Oh my, I've just got the mental image that you created, and that is unsettling in itself.
Right? A real crime, ready to go.
Yes, I also got one.
Just sitting on the floor, and then the robot Hoover just comes in.
I just had a long weekend. Leave me be, vacuum cleaner, man. But, it's... I gotta say, all I can think about is the breach we talked about many years ago, with the Ring door cameras and training the cameras up and all of that data being there. But I don't think of a Roomba as taking pictures. I don't think taking pictures helps you get your geographic locations on how to sense information. I don't think they need any of the two-dimensional photograph to tell them that this is a ledge that you're going to fall down Roomba if you go forward. So I got to go hoax.
Okay, this is a fantastic episode because it is true.
What?
It was a hack. This happened with iRobot, the manufacturer of robot hoovers, of which I own one, in 2022, and was exposed in an MIT technology review. We'll leave a note to that MIT security review in the show notes as well. So yeah, it was, of course, it was a training device that, kind of came on a special beta thing. But yeah, kind of wild.
That is wild.
It is wild. What kind of pictures are these? I don't know. Half the time now, I don't know if anyone else has experienced this lately. Random tangent. I feel like I'm training CAPTCHAs because they haven't been able to figure out if these photos are actually would a human think this is real or not? Like, I feel like I'm training the CAPTCHA robot, and it's not actually me proving that I'm a human. It's like, hey, human, we can't figure out if this picture is a tractor or a traffic light. Can you help us out? So, it's all about training our robot friends at this point.
I feel like AI is smart enough that it could definitely work out the majority of captures nowadays.
It'd do better than I do.
Pick out the buses. Like, it definitely knows what a bus is.
It's always going to be the motorcycle one of late, where it's does the handlebar count? Does it not count? Does the person on the motorcycle count? Like, those are the kind of ethical questions that are still unanswered. But I liked that game.
It's good. Wait, how many rounds of this?
No, that's it. We're done.
Oh, it's just
this takes Anna quite a long time to write these in a compelling way.
Well, it's listed as round 1, okay? I was like, all right, that was round 1. We got that wrong. There's going to be 3 rounds, and we will figure out how we scored at the end. I didn't realize it was a one and done.
Oh, no, you biffed it. You absolutely biffed it. Like, it's done.
Yeah, all right. Better luck next time.
Oh, well, before we go on that losing note, we wanted to mention also that you can head over and subscribe to our brand new Random But Memorable YouTube channel. This is a dedicated channel packed with all of the latest episodes, YouTube shorts with expert tips from our guests, and even bonus content that we couldn't fit into our regular episode. If you'd like to share your own productivity tips for 1Password or comment on anything we've discussed in today's episode, you can visit our 1Password.community forum and share your thoughts and ideas over there. We'd love to hear from you.
And the great thing about 1Password.community is that the address autofills every time you go to 1Password.com. So you'll end up there regardless of however you want to go.
I love that. We'll get you there.
No one else has that problem? I try and go to 1Password.com and it autofills and I'm like, oh, I'm on the community website. And then I lose 5 minutes because I'm like, oh, what's this?
Ooh, this is new. I love this. Yep. Okay, I feel like we need another Roomba that spied. But you totally needed to be like, dim the lights, quiet your mind, and listen closely. You're about to hear a story. A curious tale from the... Like, okay. I'm expecting Tower of Terror. Like, let's go. Like, Twilight Zone. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. The robot that spied.
All right, I'll look out for next time, and I'll start the... Okay.
Incredible.
Definitely Bridgerton.
Love you all. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in this week. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love it if you could subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also leave us a rating or review. It's one of the best ways to support Random But Memorable, and we always love reading your feedback. We're also a community-led podcast, so if you have any questions for us, topic requests, or even guests you'd like to hear from, please send us an email at podcast@1password.com. We read all of your comments and look forward to hearing from you. We hope you'll join us for the next episode with plenty more random moments in the wide world of cybersecurity.